We're talking today about applied behavior analysis, or ABA.
It is our work that we do to help the children, our clients, achieve their developmental milestones, and whether that be in the school curriculum or their goals that their families set for them.
It is the science of behavior change, and it was founded mainly by B.F. Skinner and his work at Harvard University. So it's a branch of psychology and now becoming a huge, huge field in the United States and Canada and around the world as an effective way to create behavior change, the lasting change you want to see in your life.
It was Skinner's attempt to understand the complexities of human behavior from what's known as a selectionist or evolutionary approach. The same approach taken by Darwin and others from that time forward to understand the full panoply of complexity and beauty that exists in the world around us. And so ABA is an aspect of that approach to understanding where we came from and how we came to be as robust and as creative as we are as a species.
What we do here in this clinic is we apply behavior change to family goals. So when we meet with a family, they have a child diagnosed with autism, we ask them what they would like to work on for their child. It's mostly communication skills. So sometimes we see kids who aren't able to talk. They come in with no language, and sometimes no eye contact. They're not interested in anything that we have or are doing, and they'd rather, live in their own world and do what they'd like to do. We have to use the science of behavior change by motivating them to participate in the social world. A lot of times we see challenging behaviors such as screaming, hitting, biting, throwing things. And so the science of behavior is helpful for that. We look at the functions of behavior. We look at whether the behavior is serving the purpose of escape, getting a tangible or an item, getting attention, or automatic behaviors, which can be sensory input or de-stressing. So sometimes we ask our kids to do something and they're telling us no in whatever way they can, which is sometimes screaming, biting, hitting, so for escape. Or they've asked for something and we might say no, and they have screaming, biting, hitting, dropping to the floor to get that item. Sometimes we have our attention off of them and they might be screaming, hitting, biting to get our attention. And sometimes they might be experiencing boredom, and so they might be doing some flapping, jumping around, running in circles, jumping on furniture, etc., to get an activity. And sometimes they might be stressed, so that's another automatic behavior, and they might be doing the same thing, scripting, rocking back and forth, and decompressing.
In the clinic setting, we practice everything: reading, writing, social skills, peer skills with one another. And so once the kids are comfortable, or we see that the kids are comfortable in the clinic with whatever skill they are accomplishing or doing, we as a team would then talk amongst each other to see if the kids are ready to move on to maybe in home, on generalizing that certain skill. So for example, maybe being able to share toys with your siblings. Here we will take turns with our client first. The adult and the client would take turns with their highest reinforcer or like their highest toy. So for example, an iPad. So we would take turns with an iPad. Then we'll move on to the next step, which is a peer. Then they will take turns with one another. And so when we see the progress on that and, no fighting or no trying to steal the iPad, then we will start implementing it into a home setting. We'll talk to the parents and see if, this is something that they can monitor at home if the kids has siblings, to seeing how they can share with one another. And if they don't have siblings, then parents and the child could share with one another. But just being able to prepare them to go into the next setting. Then after parents feel like they accomplished their sharing skills at home with peers, and parents then maybe generalizing it in the natural environment or in school settings as well. And then it just all across the board is, the kid has accomplished every setting that you could think of, starting from the clinic to in-home and then into school or, out in the public.
And when we work with our kids, we want to help them to develop functional communication skills so that when we place a demand on them, we ask them to do something, that they're using their ability to tolerate demands and learn a new task and be proud of their new skill that they have. Or if we tell them, no, we can't do such and such in a day, then they can tolerate being told no as well. Or if they're needing our attention and they have to wait, we're teaching them how to wait and use some problem-solving strategies like breathing, being patient, finding something else to do before they ask again, and understanding that we're not always able to meet their needs right away.